Hello and welcome to the SimTech podcast. Today we're going to be looking at EXR and we're going to be doing a video podcast. So we haven't done many video podcasts today. So yes, this is what we look like in full 4K resolution, no judging. And we're going to be talking about EXR and I brought along Nick to come and help me do that. Nick, welcome.
Thank you very much. You're guinea pigging me with video demos.
Someone's got to be first. Someone's got to be first. Nick, what are you going to be doing today for us?
Well, a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. So you spoke to Johnny, the kind of medical side of XR, recently on one of your audio podcasts. So you've got
Johnny. He also put a disclaimer in. He was like, "I'm medical. Don't ask me any technical questions." And now you're like, "Oh, I'm tech. Don't ask me any clinical questions."
Well, you know, I definitely wouldn't want to tread on his toes. But yeah, I'm the kind of film and TV background. So I do a lot of the filming for XR, but also do the day-to-day running of it. So I really want to show you how simple it is to use, demo how you can access the content through a web browser, whether that's on your computer or smartphone or tablet, but also if you have access to a headset, how easy it is to use the content there, whether that's 360 video or the full VR games that we've made, or serious games as we call them, which allow you to kind of interact with objects, teach you how to put equipment together. We started to do some kind of basic anatomy and kind of surgical skills as well, so there's quite a lot to explore on the platform. And it's certainly a more immersive experience, unsurprisingly, if you use it in a headset, but you can also watch all of the content without, which is really important to us.
Okay, well, Nick, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Craig. Really good to be here and to share what we've built with you. I always think it's much better to kind of show you what we do rather than talking about it. So I thought we'd just dive straight in with a demo. Yeah, I've brought up the platform on my web browser here. I'm running off Edge on a Mac, but it works on any modern web browser. It looks really good on a mobile phone as well. So I've logged in. As we said, it works with NHS single sign-on, but also you can set up an account if your trust hasn't got that. And when you log in, you get this lovely dashboard page, much like any learning management system, which tells you how far you've got. And it's a collection of our latest content. So we're, as Johnny mentioned in the earlier podcast, it's a combination of 360 videos and then full VR games, or serious games as we call them. So we'll dive into the collections page. Everything you see here we've created with clinicians within the NHS, within the UK. So it's a bit of an eclectic mix, but yeah, we're creating with them. We're not defining what content is being made. So I'll start with one of our first ever simulations. So in ENT, we created a pediatric rigid bronchoscope, and the story behind this, I guess, is, you know, relatively easy bit of equipment to assemble, but actually there's quite a number of pieces, and if you haven't come across it before, generally there's only one or two of these in a hospital. They have to be ready in A&E, sterilised, so actually getting your hands on one to demo is or to practice on is quite tricky. So we've launched into one of the lessons here, and what we'll start, and I'll just show you how it works if you haven't got a VR headset. So we're going to just jump in. So this we recorded in Alderhay Children's Hospital, and the beauty of VR is that we're taking people from maybe their living room or a training room and putting them in the real environment. So we did record this in an operating theatre. I'm just going to mute that so you can hear what I'm saying. So this is Bargaby showing us the bronchoscope, and the 360 view gives us kind of the immersion that we're in the room, and then what I've done is added our kind of high quality cinema cameras that gives you this picture-in-picture close-up of what's going on. So we can turn, and I'm using my mouse here, but if you're on a smartphone you use your finger, and we can turn this way and see what's going on, which is all good stuff. Nothing groundbreaking there, but where it gets a little bit interesting is where we start using our headset. So what I'm going to do is go to the next page and get my Pico here, which I've got, and you just have to bear with me whilst I wake it up. And just reconnect it. So I thought I'd give you the full demo. So what I'm going to do is share what I'm seeing on my headset. So I'm going to try and move my head as little as possible, because I know it gets a bit jerky when I'm screen sharing. So I've actually logged out just to show you the full process. So this headset we've downloaded the free app, which is available on all the stores, so Pico, MetaQuest and HTC. And what I now need to do is actually pair my headset with my web page. So I'm going to go back up here and go to pair headset. So now all I'm going to do is type in the code here, which will link my logged in account to the headset. So we just do that and give it a moment, and once it's talked to the servers, it'll log me in. So now it knows it's me, and it's waiting for the content. So what I'm going to do now is go back to the page we were on, which was the pediatric assembly, and now I'm going to click Start on Headset. And what it'll do is talk to the server, and well, that's very, very quick. It's essentially loaded that task into the headset. So this is our virtual lobby, and from here you can launch any task. So I'm going to mute this as well, just so that we're not competing. And now when I click Start, I am, if I was stood up, I'm in our virtual theatre. And I'm in a tutorial, and this is going to teach me how to put together the bronchoscope. So this is a one-by-one digital twin, if you like, of the equipment. There is audio, it guides me through every step, but essentially now I'm picking up items, and I can actually construct this object in 3D space. I can take things apart. I'm kind of learning all the different items, and eventually you build the whole bronchoscope. You then put it in the mannequin just to show you what it's like. We're not teaching how to actually do the procedure. That's not our place here, but the learning objectives was about learning the different items of the bronchoscope and how you put it together. And just to kind of complete the demo, I'm going to go back out to the lobby, and what we always like to do is kind of bring the VR or the serious games back to kind of reality, as it were. So I'm just going to go to our next task in this lesson, which is a demonstration of how we use it. Now we've done this on a mannequin, so this is a simulation. Now I could again watch it in the browser if I was on my phone, but what I'll do this time is watch in headset. And what you'll notice when I click that, I'm not going to change apps, it's instantly loaded into the lobby. And now when I click Start, I'm actually streaming a video, the same video I would watch on a flat screen, but now because I'm in the headset, I can't be distracted by things going on around me, can't look at my mobile phone, and instead of using my mouse to move around the room, I'm actually turning my head. So this is where having the extra angles starts to make more sense. Obviously, I'm kind of in a position as though I'm stood next to everyone, but I can't get the angle that I might need, and if I just jump forward a few minutes, it's useful to have this angle, because what I can see now is the consultant surgeon, which angle they're putting the instrument in at. And I quite like this demo because I recorded this angle as though maybe I was a trainee in the room, which just shows the kind of the view that you might not be getting, or the view you would be getting as a trainee, but actually how much more we can enhance that view now that the scope's gone on to the instrument. We've put a scope image up there as well, so you're getting a much clearer picture, and I can see the angle that the consultant is using with the instrument, which just gives me that more kind of immersed and useful experience, possibly better than I would get in the room. So I think that's a kind of good demo of what we've done. And I'm happy to kind of talk through anything now as well.
Well, thanks for that, Nick. You made that look really, really easy. How would a non-technical guru find those kind of things? So, I don't like to stereotype, but a bog standard nurse or a doctor picking up a VR headset and also using a PC or a laptop at the same time. How do people find that kind of stuff?
Sure. Yeah, great question. I mean, we definitely designed it to be as easy as possible, and it is. There was no trickery going on there. That was a live demo. We haven't found that many problems, and we have people can chat to us if they have difficulties, but we've been noticing people picking up VR headsets without a problem. So I have to say, I think, you know, we're not perfect, but it seems to be working really well. Obviously, the kind of viewing it on a phone or a laptop is kind of the same as YouTube, so there's no difficulties there. But yeah, we've really not noticed problems with people being able to log in and use it on the multitude of headsets, and you know, it's very rewarding for us because that was our aim. Yeah. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to access this content.
Is the computer or the laptop even necessary? Can't you just use your headset just to go onto the app and just do it that way? It does seem like you've added an extra element. Is it necessary?
Yeah, we've kind of gone retro second screen back to the 90s or noughties where that was a cool thing. I have to say that was me. I hate virtual keyboards in VR. I find them really tricky to use, even on the fancy high-end.
I hated it on the HoloLens. The HoloLens was frustrating, especially when you get a 20-digit, capital letter password to put in, and you just mess it up once.
Absolutely, which is why we went for that way of doing it. And I think primarily, you know, most of our users are using the web version, so we do think that's important. We're looking at ways of adding kind of simple navigation. Unless we can come up with a really clever way of doing our whole library in VR, I think we'll keep it with the second screen idea. And where that works really well is something we're developing at the moment, where actually being able to control multiple devices from one screen. So if you've got a room full of headsets, instead of having to have every user logged into their view, what you'll actually be able to do is kind of allow one person, the trainer at the front of the room, to control all the headsets. Which is where it becomes quite powerful, because essentially we've got a management tool without having to pay the costs that other management systems.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost predicted my other question, because as a facilitator of maybe 10, 15 people, all of them having individual headsets, and then they need individual laptops, so it can become quite complex. And I like the thought of actually having overall control of multiple headsets from just one device, because it can get messy, can't it, with people pressing wrong buttons, going back, and then you can't really see where they are, so you've got to make them take the headset off, and it becomes really awkward, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and yeah, hit the nail on the head. We're all nerds that use VR here, and we've kind of come across all these problems, so that's again where we've come from. And I think what we found also is we've built the platform to be an individual learning kind of pathway. So it's really important that the users are logged in as them, so that they can see their journey for CPD credits as well. So the moment you kind of shy away from that and have one headset that you can access all the content, but it isn't actually linked to a user, you kind of lose all of that kind of useful progress and data that the user themselves can look at and kind of see where they're going, and also get their accreditation and CPD there. So we're really keen to keep that as the model and help facilitate kind of large numbers of headsets as much as possible. The other really cool thing is you can be logged in anywhere. So when Johnny's logged in Manchester, I can actually control what he's looking at in there. So it's kind of doesn't matter whether you're in the room or not. So it's quite a neat way of controlling what's in the headset without needing annoying keyboards.
Yeah, you did mention the internet a little bit, and you said does it work well on NHS Wi-Fi, those kind of things? Multiple people, multiple headsets, streaming. What I can only assume 4K, sometimes 8K resolution, virtual reality. And does it manage well?
Yeah, and it's one of the requests we often get is, can we have an offline mode? So just the first elephant in the room is we don't have an offline mode, and that is because that allows us to really control the content, make sure that everyone's got the most up-to-date content. If we remove or update some content on the platform, we know that everyone is getting that. There's no way that a headset that hasn't been updated will be watching old content. So that's really important. I think for the kind of the content we're delivering, medical training, that's really essential. So yeah, onto your point about bandwidth. So a lot of my demos I do from a 4G connection, and that works very well. Certainly for up to 3 headsets, I run off that. So I haven't had problems there, but yes, there are always issues. One of the big problems we have is getting Meta Quest headsets onto the likes of NHS networks and EduRoam. A little hint for you if you're struggling, if you use the mobile app, for some reason that allows it to work. If you're trying to get it connected using the headset itself, going through all the settings there, it doesn't seem to work. So a little tip there, use the mobile app, and the Quests work a lot better when you're connecting to odd networks. The serious games, so the VR game I showed you, once that's downloaded, and those are tiny files, you don't need to be connected, so there's no streaming going on there. So actually, once you've loaded that into the lobby, it'll stay there without a connection, and that works really well. The streaming, we're using adaptive streaming, much like anything else, so it will adapt to the bandwidth, but you're quite right, to deliver decent 360 video, you're looking at kind of 4K minimum, but really 8K. We record everything in 8K. At the moment, we just can't stream 8K. The technology isn't good enough to allow that, so we are actually limiting the quality we can deliver until these headsets can kind of catch up and really utilize that. So it's lovely to know everything we're recording will be future-proof.
Yeah, I love that term, future-proof, because we're going through the same as well now. Because all the headsets we've used are mostly 4K. I mean, even if you go way back to the Pico 2s, they were still 4K. But you're looking even at the Apple, 8K is maybe just a little bit of a stretch at the moment in it, but we don't know what's down the line, do we?
Absolutely, and ironically, 8K on an Apple Vision Pro doesn't look very good either. It really needs to be up there in the kind of 16, 17 plus. So it's nice to know. But yeah, I mean, really, to get decent quality anatomical detail in 360, 8K really is the minimum, because that just about delivers HD when you've got it stretched. So we're certainly recording 8K, and then at the moment camera manufacturers catch up and we can actually do more than that, then absolutely we're all over it.
And you said that most of this is browser based, so we don't have to install anything, because the NHS don't really like us to install stuff onto the computers. But then you mentioned like phone apps and stuff like that. Is it just accessible through the browser from the computer side?
Absolutely. So yeah, the website is a progressive web app. So if you look at it on your phone, and you can actually save it onto your phone as an app, it'll pop up like an icon. But really, all it's doing, much like many apps these days, is just loading a web browser and working through there. And again, that allows us to be kind of very agile in our updates, making sure everything is new and all the content is as refreshed as possible. So yeah, and like you say, the rigmarole of installing things when you're not allowed to install things really is a blocker. So we're really trying to do minimum disruption there by just essentially having a web page for everything. The only place we have to have an app is on the headsets, and yeah, like I said, it's a free download from all the stores. So we've made sure we're on all the stores, whether you're on the Oculus Business or Consumer Store, Pico Business or Consumer Store. HTC is business only, but I have to say I haven't come across many people using HTC from a consumer point of view. And then I think Johnny alluded to it when you spoke to him earlier in the year. So any of the 3DOF headsets or the Apple Vision Pros, you can access again through the browser on the device itself, and using WebXR, when you click watch in browser, what it'll actually do is then launch into full 360 mode, so you get essentially the same experience as you would do on the app, without even needing the app there. What we can't deliver over WebXR yet is the full game option, and I think we're probably a long way away from that technology-wise as a standard anyway, but we're looking into ways of delivering the full VR experience in a limited fashion through the browser, whether that's kind of animated steps or some sort of other way of doing it. We haven't quite figured that out yet, but I don't want to give away all the secrets.
Well, I feel you're robbing yourself of the magic, aren't you? If you can do everything from a laptop and you don't really need a headset, people are lazy. People are just like, I'll just do it on a laptop.
It's certainly a better experience
Yeah.
and a more immersive experience. But we're not kidding. We're not kidding ourselves that everyone wants to use them, has the ability to use them, or in some places, you know, it's just people don't get on with VR, and we don't want to stop people from being able to experience the content. And it, you know, it's interesting. It's not an age thing. It's not you know, many people. My mother gets on a lot better with our VR than my sister, for example. So it is, you know, just some people. It's just a bit of an odd experience, and that's fine. And we don't want to limit that experience to some people.
You mentioned that it's free to download. You still need an account. That's like a.
Yeah, so it's locked behind the file, the paywall, as it were. Except there's no paywall there, so it's you need to log in with the NHS, and that's because there's real patient content, there's cadaveric content. So it's we need to make sure the people accessing the content are the people that are allowed to do so. And unlike YouTube, this is not an entertainment platform, so we need to be sure that the people using it are authenticated. So yes, there's no cost to it, but you do need to set up an account so that we know that you are allowed to be viewing this content. You're a member of an NHS trust.
Well, Nick, thank you very much for coming along and showing us today. Flawless as I knew it would be.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No worries.
And very happy to demo if people want to reach out or come along and share what we're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's the best way of getting hold of you, Nick, or you and your team?
So our website, EXR.education, but if you actually go on the app and you haven't signed up, there's a little tick box that says get in touch with us if you're interested in us creating with you. So that's the easiest way, and I'll send you an email or yes, contact us through the website.
All right. Well, thank you very much.